Coming up in the morning edition, an Amber Alert protecting our children has been signed. The Bahamas Public Services Union marching in solidarity for increases in salaries this morning. And a theatrical production on child molestation set to make their debut. Rise and shine, it's a happy Thursday. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thanks for waking up to us. First things first, let's check what's going on in the tropics with Basil Dean and the Bank of the Bahamas Weather Report.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions.
Good morning, LaDawn. We're going to get you started with our ZDS Tower Cam, which is overlooking the southern portion of the Providence, and it is showing some dark and threatening clouds, and that means some rain's on the way, so take those umbrellas with you today. As we go to our satellite picture in the tropics, Chantal has been reduced to just a tropical depression, and then this area of disturbed weather over the Bahamas now has about a 20% chance of developing into some sort of tropical system over the next 5 days, but that will trek towards the north and west. We'll tell you more about that later in the newscast, so stay tuned. Outside of our studios, we are under mostly cloudy skies, temperature 79 degrees, your relative humidity 88%, easterly winds at 9 miles per hour, the barometric pressure 1,017.0 millibars, that's 29.99 inches, and it is steady. Temperatures around the islands this morning, 81 degrees in Marshall, Babaco, Green Tulkey, also Freeport at 81 degrees, in the Berry Islands 82, 79 in Allenstown, Bimini, in Harbour Island 80 degrees, Rock Sound, Eleuthera, Artistown, Cat Island 81, 80 in Staniel Key, Exuma, Kemp's Bay, St. Andrews 80 degrees, Fresh Creek in Central Andrews at 81, 81 in San Salvador and Rim Key as we take you into Ragged Island, another 81 there, and that extends into Clarencetown, Long Island, Crooked Island, Betsy Bay, Magona, and Acklands, Matthewtown, Inagua 82, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 83 degrees. Your boating forecast for today: easterly winds in the northwest Bahamas, speeds around 10 to 15 knots, wave heights 2 to 4 feet, low tide 5:51, and this morning high tide at 12:11 in the afternoon. And for the central and southeastern islands today, the winds will be out of the southeast, 12 to 18 knots, wave heights 3 to 6 feet over the ocean. Caution flags up for boaters in the central and southeastern Bahamas. That's going to do it for your first look at weather, the morning edition. Stay tuned. Your forecast for today and tonight is still ahead.
Thanks a lot, Basil. The Bahamas First Traffic Report is up next with Kelsey Johnson and the Morning Edition traffic team.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Morning, LaDawn. Good morning, Bahamas. We're here on Nassau Street, not too far from the Boyd Road and Meadow Street traffic light juncture. And if you were to take this particular road over the past 3 days or probably 7 days, you would have seen that a lot of work is taking place on Nassau Street, extending from the Ponciana Drive roundabout, heading northbound down into Bay Street. Now, joining me live on set and location is Sergeant Jerron Thompson. Now, Sergeant Jerron Thompson, how are motorists supposed to navigate on this road with so much road works being done?
Good morning to you. Good morning, Bahamas. Motorists traveling north on Nassau Street, if you notice, most of the work is being done on the northbound lane. You have to give way. You have to drive with due care and attention because most of the work is on the northbound side. You can't force your way onto the southbound lane because if you were to get in a traffic crash, you will be charged with that particular accident.
Okay. Now, in the night, there's no kind of hazardous signs. If you're not familiar with the road work, you might crash into one of the boulders that are blocking the left lane. How are we supposed to navigate that?
Yes, that's something we have to speak with Ministry of Works officials. They need to put proper lighting systems in place and proper things to make these boulders, and I even see some ditches for those things to be visible.
Now, you mentioned about us crossing into the southbound lane. If I was to get into a traffic accident, you said I'll be at fault. Why is that?
Because the road is divided in half, and you need to stay on your half of the road. Even though there's work on your side of the road, you have to drive with due care and attention and with reasonable consideration. As you can see, the broken lines here. This is for the northbound lane, so you need to adhere to the road regulations.
All right, thank you so much, Sergeant Thompson. Like Sergeant Thompson said, LaDawn adhered to a lot of the road regulations, especially on this particular road. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks a lot, Kelsey. Now on to our top story this morning. Government pumping millions into an Amber Alert system in a safeguard measure to protect our children. The system is named in honor of Marco Archer, who was brutally killed in 2011. Marco would have celebrated his 19th birthday today. And yesterday, the government signed a $3.1 million contract for the launch of Marco's Alert. Archer's family, including his mother and siblings, attended the ceremony. National Security Minister, the Honorable Marvin Dames, spoke on the significance of the system that will be used by mobile devices, social media, and billboards to give notifications on a missing child.
The mandatory aggressive action for rescuing children's operation, or Marco's Alert, will bring together collective partnerships and alliances between corporate Bahamas, the police force, and civil society. The Bahamas now joins 18 other countries with a child abduction alert that has been patterned after the Amber Alert system in the United States of America. Specifically, the alert will be critical to assisting in the recovery strategies by integrating all of the primary and secondary distribution pathways available, including new wireless capabilities and the traditional alerting protocols.
Authorities investigating a homicide overnight in the Martin Street area. Police say the incident took place around 10 at a home in the community. This incident comes on the heels of a triple shooting in Pinewood Gardens several days ago, where 2 men were killed and a woman sent to hospital. We talked to police press officer Shanta Knowles on the scene.
The young man was sitting on a stairway along with others when they were approached by a lone gunman who opened fire in their direction, hitting one of them and, of course, fatally wounding him. We are appealing to those who may have seen or heard anything that can assist us with this investigation to please give us a call at the Central Detective Unit. Again, our numbers are 502-9991 or 2. The Crime Stoppers number is 328-8477. That's 328-TIPS. Or contact the nearest police station.
Increases in salary and a lump sum payment for union members is at the forefront of stalled discussions, between the government and executives of the Bahamas Public Service Union. BPSU President Kingsley Ferguson says the time to act is now, as negotiations between the union and the government have come to a stalemate, forcing the union to initiate a solidarity march, hoping to have their voices heard by the government.
9 promptly. We're going to meet by the old city market parking lot. And we're going downtown in a very peaceful way. And we're going to tell the Prime Minister we come for our teams.
And while the industrial climate heats up, Labor Minister, the Honorable Dion Folks, assures union leaders that their voices are being heard. He says a meeting will be held this week to address their concerns.
On Saturday, at 10 a.m. at Paul Farquharson Center at the police headquarters, the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, and the entire Cabinet of the Bahamas will meet with all public sector unions. That's approximately 7 unions. I have spoken to both Mr. Obi Ferguson from the TUC and Mr. Bernard Evans from the NCTUB, and both of them have agreed to participate along with their affiliate unions. What we want to do is have a very frank and open discussions with all of the unions so that we all can put our cards on the table and see to what extent we can get the issues resolved.
Members of the Bahamas Doctors Union withdrew their labor yesterday morning to bring attention to what they call a long-standing issue with their overtime pay. Union President Dr. Melisande Bassett says they have been very patient and they want this matter to be addressed.
From 2014 to now, it's been too much, too long. You can't continue to ask us to sit idly by and them to throw us little bones and we just sit and accept it. And in negotiations, speaking to people, asking them to bring some resolution, we haven't gotten it. Yes, over 5 installments and based on availability. For us, that's unacceptable. Seeing that we have made so many concessions, we have cut down on the years because the figure we do understand is astronomical. Our main issue with this entire negotiation process has been the vacillation on the part of PHA.
Minister of Labor, Senator the Honorable Dion Foulkes, confirming that an emergency meeting between Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, and the Bahamas Doctors Union and other senior labor representatives at the office of the Prime Minister yesterday afternoon went very well and was very productive. Minister Foulkes indicated to us that some of the issues were settled and the follow-up will compromise a conciliation meeting between the Bahamas Doctors Union and the Public Hospitals Authority this coming Monday that will be chaired by Director of Labor John Pinder. Minister Foulkes also told us that regarding whether strike action will end, Doctors Union officials will make that decision once they've briefed their membership on the details of the meeting with the Prime Minister. However, Minister Foulkes says he was surprised by yesterday's strike action.
There was no inkling of it. To me as Minister of Labor, and there was of course, no notice of it. Yes, I was surprised. It did catch me by surprise. But as you know, they have a valid strike certificate, and it is part of the process. And as Minister of Labor and the Department of Labor, we respect that. But the idea is to get the matters resolved, and that is what we intend to do.
And still to come, social services rendering assistance to those families in need of uniform assistance. All of that and more when the Morning Edition comes right back.
I watch the morning show to keep up with the flow of traffic and to watch the weather.
Welcome back to the Morning Edition. The Department of Social Services now issuing Bank of the Bahamas gift cards for uniform assistance to parents and guardians needing help to get their children ready for the new school term. Acting Director Lillian Quant Forbes says the department started handing out the gift cards on Tuesday. She talked about the process.
They get gift cards to take to the various vendors of their choice. And so one of the things that they do, they can purchase shirts, skirts, pants, socks. We have uniform and footwear, so shoes as well. In some cases, there may be ties that they can purchase, crests and all of those things. So anything that's related to school, they are allowed to purchase with the gift card.
The school bell will ring for children of all ages here in the Bahamas. They're all ready to get back on track for the new academic year. But there might be one or two things parents might forget to do before sending them on their way. Find out just what they are in this report from our Kelsey Johnson.
Pack your bag. Make sure that your pencils, pens, and books are all inside. Are your shoes clean, uniform pressed, and hair fixed? These questions and more asked ahead of the first day of school are all marked out to ensure that your child is ready. But what about healthcare? Did that ring a bell?
It's extremely important to get medical checkups before you start school. You want to go with your doctor, your pediatrician, or your family medicine physician and get a complete physical. So they're going to get a full history to find out if there are any underlying medical illnesses going on with the child. Any allergies, that's very important because you need to notify teachers and, the administrative staff in the event, nut allergies are very rampant. Certain fruits like strawberries, blueberries, children are allergic to. So it would be good to know these things and to let the teachers know so they can look out for any signs and probably keep them out of the classroom if someone is allergic.
Parents should also be advised that treating allergies are as equally important as getting immunized, as well as a visit to your dentist and optometrist, claims family physician at the Family Medical Center, Dr. Tonya Roker-Davis.
You want to make sure your child is up to date with immunizations. Things that parents take for granted like an eye exam, a hearing exam. These things, a child can be in school and getting like D's and E's, but they may simply not be able to hear the teacher or to see what's on the board. So something as simple as that, all those things need to be in place.
A full physical once a year was prescribed by the doctor.
If you notice any signs or symptoms, the child is saying, oh, I can't see, or even sometimes if you see a child who particularly wants to sit in the front, it's probably because they can't see from the back, or even they can't hear, if they're far away from the teacher. So you just look out for things like that, but yearly is good.
And like the old proverb says, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Roka Davis believes a good night's rest will also help.
You need to set a routine. I hear parents, they come in sometimes and they're like, oh, I leave my child up last night playing this game or whatever, but the child won't be able to function in the morning and they won't be alert, to learn the work that's being taught in school. So a good night's rest is very important. I advise all parents to set a time and stick to it.
Breakfast is still the most important meal of the day, and Roka Davis wants everyone to have their fill before heading out. Kelsey Johnson, ZNS Network News.
Sorry there, Kelsey. Abuse and molestation among children is on the rise here in the Bahamas, and Peculiar Generation, a newly formed production company, is staging a play called The Lightning Tree to heighten awareness on the prevalent issue. The riveting yet timely production depicts two female juvenile attorneys on their quest for justice for a teenage girl who will be showcased to the public this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Dundas Theater on Mackey Street. Tickets can also be purchased at the Dundas Theater. Playwriter Desiree Edwards.
There's a much higher rate of reported cases than I would have anticipated. I can't remember, it was like 890 something in a year or something like that, but those are just the reported cases. So imagine the cases that are unreported. And I really believe that is due to the fact that we don't like to talk about this because it makes us uncomfortable. But the problem with that is, how do you expect to achieve some kind of change if you won't speak about the things that make you uncomfortable, and this is something that when it happens, it has a domino effect, and it keeps hurting that person or people for many years into their lives.
Well, Fisher, child abuse and child molestation is on the rise here in the Bahamas. I know you have kids. What's your take on that?
I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to be quiet on that because I have my 4 girls, and if anybody, just leave it just like that.
What's coming up in sports?
Well, coming up in sports, we're going to take a trip down to Curacao. We're going to check in on our under-17 girls national soccer team. Then we're going to go down to Jacksonville and check in on one of our country's best baseball players. So lots of traveling this morning.
All right, all of that and more ahead in sports.
Morning once again, our under-17 girls national soccer team. They are off to a kicking start, playing their opener at the CONCACAF Championship qualifiers in Curacao. They kicked aside St. Vincent and the Grenadines 4-1. Rachel rolled with a hat-trick, 3 goals, and Gabriel Sims the other goal. Bahamas off today and plays the host team on Friday. By the way, they lost to Guyana 2-1 in their opener. Meantime, the ladies' national softball team en route to Canada for the 2020 Olympic qualifiers. They will be playing out of Group A with Guatemala, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Argentina, and the host, Canada. Named to the team, Taylor Johnson, Ramona Hanna, Brendia Ferguson, Valencia Gibson, Melinda Bastian, Sophia Cartwright, Chavette Taylor, Mia Turner, Elijah Johnson, Larika Russell, Dyer Cambridge, DeWanna Pratt, Javante Rose, Shante Curtis, Altavia Hall. The Bahamas plays their first game Sunday against Guatemala. Let's bounce now to the FRE Gym. Bahamas Government Departmental Basketball Association regular season all done with and teams warming up for the playoffs. The Police Crime Stoppers taking on Airport Authority. This one a pretty good one, back and forth with shots falling from all angles. Mark Hanna carrying a game high 29, Daryl Seymour 20, Jerron Smith 17, and Vernon Stubbs 14 in the 111-98 win. Crime Stoppers into the 4th spot and a first round bye. Avengers getting the 6th spot and place in round 1.
Tonight we came out and played an excellent game tonight. We played as a team. We're looking forward to heading into the playoffs with a strong win tonight. And as we get ready for the playoffs, we're looking to win the championship and bring the championship back home to the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
It was a hard-fought battle. We know we always got battle with this team. They've been our nemesis for a long time. But, we wanted to win this game, but we didn't come out the victors. But we look forward to seeing them in the first round of the playoffs.
And it was a much-needed win for the Defense Force Mariners to get into the playoffs, and they took nothing for chance as Lindrick Starr dropped 22, Otis Ferguson Jr. 13, Travis Starr 12, and Ronaldo Calma 11 in the much-needed 80-69 win over Game Changers to sneak into that 7th spot with the first round of the playoffs tipping off next week, Monday. Game Changers this season is all done.
The team kind of came out flat, so it took a while for us to kind of get in the flow, and then we up these points, we get up, then we kind of fall off a little bit, but coming down to the end, we picked it up and was able to pull off the win. It was a good win for my team tonight. As a matter of fact, it was a must-win. Our back was against the wall. This game was for the playoff berth, so hopefully now just get my team in playoff gear now, ready to make some waves in the playoffs.
And from minor league baseball, Josh Chisholm, a good night at the plate for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, 3 for 5, a double and a triple in the team's 7-6 win over Birmingham. And that's going to do it for sports. I'm Charles Fisher. Thanks for watching.
In our final look at weather in the tropics, we have Chantal has been now reduced to just a tropical depression as it continues to race towards the east. But on the home front, we have this area of disturbed weather across the Bahamas. This now has a slim chance, but a 20% chance of becoming a tropical system within the next 5 days. But the good news is it will be trekking towards the northwest today, and by the time it develops into anything, it should be north of the Bahamas, and then eventually it is expected to turn north and then northeast. But today you can expect showers to be spreading across the capital. They will be heavy at times, so we advise you to take those umbrellas with you and do exercise caution while driving on the streets today. Variable cloudiness today with pockets of showers and thunderstorms, as we said already. Heavy at times, high temperature getting up to 88 degrees. And tonight, the cloudy conditions will continue with more heavy showers in the forecast. Low temperature around 79 degrees. And the extended weather forecast, after tomorrow, things will dry out a bit as we head into Saturday. Some clouds lurking around on Sunday, but relatively dry conditions over the weekend. And the early part of next week will look great again until the middle part of next week before we bring back some more showers into our forecast. LaDawn?
Thanks a lot, Basil. And that's a wrap for us. For the entire Morning Edition team, I'm LaDawn Davis. Have a great day, everyone.
Take that mess from off the wall. Give that baby back its ball. Leave other people things alone. There's other ways to get involved. Get involved, don't be no fool, stay in school. Let your mind become a tool. Church were made for fools to be. Locked away from society, society. Get involved, get involved. Get